AP Micro. Here is a video to help explain how to do the reassessment process if you choose to do the reassessment process for the midterm exam. This is a link to a document called, I think it's called AP Micro Reassessment Process or Directions. This is actually a link that you have. And so if you go to this link, there's a lot of details. And so I'm just gonna give you a video and explaining a few different things that makes you completely understand. I have learned over the years that even though I have very detailed instructions, many times students don't actually read the instructions and they end up doing the reassessment process wrong. So I want to make sure that you do the reassessment process correctly, and so then you're allowed then to do the to reassess the actual exam. If you don't follow this reassessment process correctly and I get the information back, then you will then have to redo it until you actually get the process correct. So pay particular attention to make sure you understand how to do this. All right, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to have, first up, before I get to the steps, this needs to be completed on a separate sheet of paper. So you're not going to do it on the actual exam sheet. You're not going to do it on a Google Doc. You're going to do it on, you're going to actually turn in different sheets of paper along with the original exam if you go through the reassessment process. All right? And so that's just wanted to make that clear right away. We're not actually doing this on Google Docs and you're sharing with me. This has to be done via actually sheets of paper. I will not accept this if it is done via a Google Doc, right? And there's a reason for that, which I won't get into. Okay. So step one, you need to identify the question number. So please, and you also have to tell me, do you have a yellow test or a white test? So on here, not for all of these. Actually, you know what? You don't have to do that because I will know I'll have your test in front of me. So just for the step one, identify the question. You don't have to say my question number is, just say 24. And so I will know that I have to look at number 24 in your test. And so it says right here, do not state the question. You do not have to actually state this is what the question was. I'm trying to keep the integrity of my test. And so it just says 24 because different times I switch the orders of the test and things of that nature. And so if this is what you have, that's step one. Step two is the very first thing you do in step two is you have to identify why the answer that you stated, why it's wrong. And so if you state here, it says state the incorrect answer. Please don't give me a letter answer. Please don't say, I said D. I want you to say, here's what I actually said. Maybe you say, price increase will cause a decrease in demand. That's what you actually said as your incorrect answer, right? So now it says what I'm looking for you to do is you're going to explain why your answer was actually wrong without explaining the correct answer, right? And so that because there are three parts to this, really two. Step one is stating your incorrect answer. Step three is stating your correct answer. Now this section here is only for the multiple choice, right? So if we're looking at this as only for multiple choice, here are some acceptable examples. It says you can explain what the question could have been, right? Such as this, I chose a price increase will cause a decrease in the quantity demanded. So this is the actual answer that you got wrong, but understand that this is wrong since the answer refers to the law of demand and not the law of supply. So you've just proven to me that you know two concepts now, and not just that you know law of supply, but you also know law of demand. So that's an acceptable answer. You can also say, I chose, again, here's what the answer is, but understand this is wrong since a change in quantity demanded doesn't cause a change in price. It's actually vice versa. So I don't care how you state to me that it's incorrect, as long as you state it kind of using one of these two examples. But there are some unacceptable answers. The unacceptable answer is by stating this is wrong since the law of supply states this. Well, you can't state that this is incorrect and then just state the correct answer because you aren't explaining to me that you know why this is incorrect. So I want to make sure that you understand that. You cannot get credit for this reassessment if you state the correct answer and then you follow it up with just here it's wrong because here's the right answer. That's not good enough because there's a separate section for that. So you have to explain it. A is wrong and then I thought the answer was this but realize it's not. Right? And so you can't say to me, you can't say, I just didn't know, because the purpose of the reassessment process is for you to actually use your notes packets, to use the presentations, to use whatever tools you find, and to actually find out why the answer is wrong. So you have to look through this information and figure out why this stuff is incorrect. That's the learning from this, not just the fact that you asked a friend and the friend said, oh, the answer is actually C. That's not learning, okay? So the next one, it says, you need to state the correct answer. So in part 3, you're telling me you're explaining why the correct answer is correct. So again, state the correct answer. Do not say the correct answer is D. So here's the correct answer. The correct answer is here, and a price floor is a minimum price set by the government. Then you give me an explanation about why that is correct. Right? So you have to explain that. And so the whole process will help deepen your learning about that one concept in that one question. And so that's what you would do. If you get 10 multiple choice questions wrong, you need to do this process, steps 1, 2, and 3 for all 10 of those questions. And folks, you'd be better off to have more detail than less detail. Because if I go through and if I start thumbing through and looking at some of your reassessment stuff to make sure you've done it correctly, you don't want to use as few of words as possible, because then I need to make sure that you understand it. That's multiple choice. And so when you look at for the free response questions, what you do for the free response questions, I'm just going to make this a little bit higher. Again, identify the question number. So this step 1 is for question number 33. But also tell me how many points you lost. You don't do that for multiple choices. Multiple choice is worth 1 point. But I want to know how many points did you lose on question number 34. So you're going to explain, I lost 3 points, and you're going to explain why the answer was incorrect. These are a few different ways for you to do that. The last one, if it's a graph, the last one is easy enough because you want to identify what you did wrong, be specific and why it's wrong. And maybe you say, you know what, I actually shifted demand to the left, and I realized that's wrong because that would have meant this happened in the question. You wouldn't want to say, yeah, I actually shifted the demand left, but I realized it's right. That's not correct. That's you stating what the correct answer is. You have to tell me why shifting the demand curve to the left is wrong, right? So I hope that makes sense. And so as you go through it, like if it's an equation, I will accept the fact of you saying, I just didn't remember the equation, right? So I guess that I don't remember the equation. So that's one of those different things. There's kind of no way around that, but that doesn't work for the multiple choice. You have to give me the learning. And then down here, you're going to give me the correct answer. So if, like the equation one, you would tell me, well, this is the actual correct equation. And if I actually use the correct equation, here's the correct answer. So you would give me the correct equation, and then you would give me what the correct answer is. So that's how you go through the reassessment process for multiple choice and for free response. And you're, again, doing all of this information on separate sheets of paper. And so you will have your test will be in the test center. You have to email the test center to get an appointment, and you can go 2, 3, 4 times if you want to. You don't have to do it in one shot, but your test has to stay in the test center, and you're going to go to the test center for your appointment. They will give you your test. You can use resources. You can use your notes packet. You can use the presentations. You can use Google, your textbook. I just want you to find the correct information. So this will take, depending on how many multiple choice questions or free response questions you got wrong, it's going to be a different time frame for every single person. So you have to do one for every single one you get wrong in order for you to reassess the test. And so once all of that reassessment process is done, you finish it in your one stop or your second visit, your third visit, you tell the person at the test center, say, I'm done with my reassessment. Could you notify Mr. Anderson to get my test now? And then I will go and I will get your test. I will look at your reassessment to make sure that you have learned some things about it. And that time, I will make sure that you have your test then in the test center to do the reassessment of the midterm exam. But remember, the last thing I'll say is that in order for you to do that, to reassess in a test, you have to have your chapter questions, the chapter test done, the enrichment test done. You need to have the pre-midterm done all on Schoology. And there's those review problems that are in the formative document. You need to have those completed. So if you're actually doing the free response questions for the reassessment, you have to turn in those review problems. If you're only doing the multiple choice questions, you don't have to turn in the completed review problems. That's okay. So either way, just so that whatever works for you. So good luck with the reassessment process. I hope that you do learn a lot and you improve and you do better on the reassessment.